everyone, welcome to the Zilla Villa. This is my Uromastyx's in-house chef. I am Vanessa.
And August.
Today we are talking about food, supplements, treats for your Uromastyx. So let's get started. Alright, I'm not sponsored. This is the Revashi. This is the Repashi Super Veg. We also have this Herpta Veg. What is this?
Herptivite.
We also have this Herptivite, and this one is a multivitamin, as well as we have this calcium as well. Why am I saying as well as that? We have these two. These are by Repcal. We have these three supplements here. These are all the ones that you're going to want to get. They're the best brands. Okay, so we're going to get into why is your Uromastyx not eating? If yours is anything like ours, it hates the supplements, which is very fun. We had to put the most minimal amount in order to get it to eat anything with supplements on it. For a while, it would refuse anything with the Repashi. We finally have gotten to a point where it will eat with the Repashi. How often should Repashi be used?
So the Repashi should be given 5 times a week for this. So like Monday to Friday, it'll get this. For the Repcal Herptivite, this is 2 times a week. So it'll be like a Monday, Wednesday kind of thing. And for the Repcal Calcium, this is also 2 times a week.
They recommend on the label that if you're going to use this brand, to put these together at the same time. You fix the supplement problem, and your Uro's still not eating. Again, if yours is anything like ours is, food bowls make a difference. The very first food dish that I got for our Uro is this huge Exoterra one. And it would refuse to go in it. And I was like, okay, I don't understand. So then I was like, you know what, maybe it's just way too big. Because generally, you want to have a bigger bowl because your Uro likes to spread its food everywhere and make a huge mess. So you want to be able to have a bowl big enough for them to do that without messing up their entire enclosure. It went down a size. Still hated it. Would not go in, would not eat its food. And I was like, okay. And it took me a while to look up and find that sometimes they are really picky about their food dish. Because, you know, in the wild, you're not getting... whatever. It did not like this one, and I'm assuming it's because of how the line... what is this part?
I don't really know what you're trying to say, but it's tall. It has
That's
to
what I'm trying to say.
Over it to get into
It doesn't
the
like
dish.
how tall it is, so I was like, awesome. Why not get a third one? This one, it loves. This one is perfect. It's not too tall. It'll fully crawl in here. It'll mess up its food and do all the 9 yards. If your Uro's not eating, that could very well be the reason, is that it does not like the size of its food dish. Now, things are working pretty smoothly. Amazing. I'll tell you some of the things that we are feeding our Uro as a staple. We feed curly endives, escarols, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Those are great staples to feed your Uro. So every day, we also feed butternut squash and spaghetti squash. That's kind of an every other day item that they can eat. We also sometimes on occasion will throw in some Swiss chard. Swiss chard is not a staple. That's kind of like a once a week sort of food that you want to throw in there. It's like this is red Swiss chard. What you want to do if you are going to add Swiss chard is make sure to cut the stem off. So you want to take off the leaves and then cut them up as well. You can use bok choy. Again, that's something you don't want to put in every single day. That would be more of a once a week, maybe even a once every couple of weeks item to throw in there. You want to have things that are going to hydrate them in their food because that is where they get their water source from. So spraying your greens, lightly spraying them with some water. Something else that you can have, and a lot of people do use, is spring mix. The only thing with spring mix is that you want to make sure to take out the spinach. Some people like to use Tortoise Pellets. The first time I tried to use these, I bungled it. There's some mixed information about how often you can use these. I have found that ours does not like this brand, does not like the Zoom Ed brand, but there are a lot of other ones that we can use. What you want to do is moisten these a little bit. Don't do what I did, because originally I thought, oh, I'm supposed to put them in water for like 2 minutes. That was way too long. It broke apart immediately, and it was very messy and bad. You just want to get these a tad wet. So I'm going to just quickly show you how to do that. Okay, so you're going to, obviously do this in a container or whatever you want to do, but just a little bit of a rinse just to get it to break apart. See, just like that. We just watched a Q&A with Philip Leitz. He's a Uromastyx guru.
Arids Only.
Arids Only. He doesn't really use any dry foods, but especially avoids them in the winter, so that's kind of something I'm going to do as well. So, for example, I do add these little flower petals in Pharaoh Tansy's food every once in a while. Same with, yes, they can have seeds. Sesame seeds are okay, but again, it's a dry food. Seeds should be used as a treat. Same with things like bee pollen. Those are really good treats, meaning you don't want to feed it to them every day. Let's go over to the cutting process, because this could also be why your Euro is not eating.
What you're going to want to do to chop things, we're going to end with the leaves and start off with the squash. Basically what you're going to want to do is cut the rind off. So, hard with a dull knife. Because why would I sharpen anything for the video to make myself look better? Alright. So I'm just cutting this into chunks that are easily cut into smaller chunks. So you'll take your little small chunk and just cut it up nice and thin. It's pretty cool because I get to work on my chopping skills. I feel like Gordon Ramsay sometimes, and then other times I'm on camera and I can't chop fast for my life. So nice, small, thin pieces are the way to go.
You can also use a cheese grater, which is what I normally do to get the squash nice and small.
There's that. There's our squash cut up. You can see an okay little amount of squash. It should have no problem eating that. I just make a ball out of the leaves and then cut it so that it makes like long, ribbony, shredded lettuce style, like tendrils of curly endive. Majority of what it's getting in there is the endive. As you can see, there's not a lot of squash compared to the endive, and we're literally just gonna do like 2 small leaves of red Swiss chard. So tiny little bit just for a different flavor in there. It loves the Swiss chard. It'll eat this right up. And now on to supplements. So the supplement that it's gonna get today is the Repashy. You're supposed to give it 2.5% by weight of the vegetables in there. What I do is I literally just take one tiny 2-fingered pinch, dust it on there, and then just give it a mix, because ours really doesn't like the supplement. Doing it this way is better than nothing.
Now I'm gonna just lightly mist them. That should be good enough.
I'd say so.
Perfect. Without further ado, let's go pop it in the cage. Essentially, what you want to do when you're feeding them is make sure that you have a nice balanced diet. So they do have calcium. You want to stay away from things that have high oxalates. Please don't ask me what that means, because I don't know. Things like romaine lettuce, you want to kind of stay away from. It doesn't really provide them any nutritional value. Same with iceberg lettuce. They can eat different types of flowers, dandelion greens, dandelions themselves. And a good rule of thumb, what tortoises can generally eat is what Uros can generally eat. Uros are very similar to a lot of tortoises. Looking at the Tortoise Table website is a really great resource guide to knowing the kind of things that you should and shouldn't feed your Euro. And if there is something on there that you're not 100% sure about, you can use other resources like the Uromastyx Facebook group, which is a phenomenal resource. And if you go into those files, it will really specify how much protein something has or how much calcium something has, and that kind of helps make a balanced diet while also being able to change up what they're eating every week or so. Unfortunately, you're not going to see Ferotansy today, as Ferotansy is in brumation, which is a video I will be doing very shortly. I will probably do a more in-depth feeding guide going forward, but just as a starter up, that's kind of the things that you want to feed your Euro. I also just want to say thank you for all of the really nice comments on the last video. Again, this channel is all about learning from a first-time Euro owner perspective, or just a first-time reptile owner in general, which is what Ferotansy is. Bon appetit, Ferotansy. Stay tuned for that DIY? Yes, DIY 5x2x2 enclosure August and I have been working on. Not sure if it's going to be uploaded by the time Ferotansy gets to move into it, because it's going to take a long time to edit. Thanks for joining us in the Zilla Villa, and thanks for all of the positive feedback on the last video. Hopefully this one also provides some decent information. Like, subscribe, dislike. It's a free country depending on where you live and where you're watching this.